Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we have the match in A Link to the Past All Dungeons tournament, loser bracket round 2, between, I hope I say it right, Osse101 and Thalane. Commentators for this will be A0 and Apathy Duck. Take it from here.
Yo, thanks. Yeah, it should be a pretty good matchup. As was mentioned, this is a losers bracket match, so whoever loses this will be eliminated. The winner will move on and play M. Kozler in the next round. So it should be a good one. It should be an exciting one. But yeah, we'll be getting started here real shortly. How you doing, Ace?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm all right. A little early for me.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I got my coffee with me as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this should be a really good match. Just to echo what Duck has mentioned already. Looking at their PBs, as long as their splits are accurate, it looks like they are only about 20 seconds apart. Of course, a lot of things can go wrong in this category, big or small, but that's a pretty close spread between the two runners.
Yeah, I think Aussie's PB's a little bit lower than I think he's got a low 112. I know he's going to be getting silvers during this match. I kind of convinced him to get those accidentally. Aussie plays a lot of games. He's in the SM multi-category too, and in one of his races there, he did Kraid second instead of third, which is about again it's like a 20-second time loss. I was just talking to him. It's like it's really interesting that you do take that safety, which is like a bigger proportion of the race where like silvers is about the same time loss as a safety, and you don't do it here. And it's a little like the silver safety is really weird because like it feels like it takes so long to get, and then you don't get paid back to the very end really with the Ganon fight being faster. Whereas like doing like the Kraid thing, it's largely an invisible time save or time loss. It doesn't feel nearly as bad. So he kind of like sat down and looked at it, and I think he decided for the tournament, mostly Helma being so scary in this category, he decided to end up getting it for the tournament. If he loses by 20 seconds, then so be it. But he's going to stick with those safeties just to make sure he doesn't. Because if you die to Helma, especially against a guy like Thalane, you really need Thalane to make a mistake of like the same magnitude to even have a chance. So just really eliminating that as a potential source of losing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously a couple of those areas where you can have those big mistakes that I'm sure we'll point out when we get to them. Hopefully, we avoid them and they don't come up.
Yeah, and I think did actually sit down and practice a lot of the silver stretch. It's really to only get it to be a 20-second time loss. There's a lot of like little things that you need to do. There's a lot of like little tiny time saves, stuff like the mimics in pod, mimics in GT. You can even do like arrow strats all the way through GT, like you would in Hundo. It's a little difficult, especially Wiz 2. I'm not sure if he's going to do that just because that strat is fairly difficult. Optimizing in Aga Tower. So Aussie has sat down and practiced all that stuff. So we're going to see a pretty efficient silvers route from us. He's not just taking it as a pure safety and kind of just going with it. He's sat down and actually practiced those strats. So it does make the match a little interesting to call, because like I said before, Aussie's gonna fall behind. Will apparently fall pretty far behind in the pod segment. Thalane was gonna look like he's got a pretty big lead, but Aussie's gonna be sitting around with about 30 to 40 seconds in his pocket on that Ganon fight. So Thalane's gonna need to maintain. Pretty much needs to be ahead by a whole crystal cutscene. Is a good kind of like indication. As long as Thalane is leaving the cutscene before Aussie enters it, Thalane will effectively be ahead at that point. But if they're in the cutscene at the same point, then Aussie's going to have an effective lead here. Unless Thalane gets them, he might get them for the same reason. But I think he's planning on skipping them.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Especially if he hasn't done a lot of practice getting them as a safety, it's probably not worth it to fumble around and try to get them.
Yeah, like I said, Osse really sat down and really practiced the strats to make sure he's being efficient with them. Not just taking them as a pure safety, but actually optimizing it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of interesting things to talk about during this split that they're more pressing. The silvers will happen in a few splits, but for right now, we're just going through escape as normal.
Yeah, so we're talking about stuff that's going to happen 2 splits from now. Yeah, it's kind of the downside of not even just this category, but this game. You know, you have to pretty much every single category goes through escape and Eastern. It can make it pretty demoralizing for like resets and everything. You have to kind of go through this whole section over and over again. So just kind of have to get through a lot of just pumping, just try to get as clean movement as possible. Yeah, I'm playing with a little lead here, but like this type of lead in this category really is just completely immaterial.
I guess we use this time for, in case there is anybody watching doesn't know what this is. This is all dungeons, restricted major glitches. So all dungeons, they obviously have to beat every dungeon in the game, but they're allowed to use some glitches that aren't normally available in the NMG category or like the base, most popular version of the game. So we'll get one of those probably on the way to Eastern Palace. I suspect both these runners will probably go for the citrus clip, saving some time on the overworld there. Basically, the RMG is it's some of the not quite too overpowered glitches. Most of it's on the overworld to enable just to cut out some of the walking around or running around between dungeons.
Yeah, RMG's the rule set in all dungeons is the goal. The all dungeons goal. Just if you did like an 80% run of this with this rule set, you could do it in a rule work was I think 26 minutes, held by Pincus. So basically, we just add the all dungeons rule, which is a fairly common goal for this game, just because it's so broken. You can go to the boss fairly quickly, but it just kind of extends it to like what you would normally do in an NMG run. So like you can like compare it to like what you would be doing with no major glitches. You're doing the same exact goal, you're doing the same exact things. You can just do it a lot faster because you have access to these glitches. One interesting thing to note here, since Osse is getting silvers, he does have the option of picking up that Sank Heart before Eastern. Normally you would get it after Eastern because you want it for Pod to get the free refill after a save and quit. You won't be at full hearts. So he could have gotten it there to make his Eastern a little bit safer. Eastern is not really a scary dungeon, but if you're at 3 hearts, so if anything goes wrong, you're pretty likely to die. Does not choose to do that. It's technically still optimal to get it later. Even if he did get it, he'd have to pick up a heart in Eastern as well to even have that extra benefit. But that is an option if you're going to be getting silvers because you're going to be saving quit after anyways, so the free refill really doesn't buy you anything going into Pod.
Yeah, we see Osse going for the citrus clip and getting it pretty quickly. Nicely done there. Thalane choosing to walk around. Or wait, sorry, is that the opposite? Did I get them mixed up?
Thalane's on the right.
But yeah, not a whole lot of interesting events that are unexpected or different than what you would do in a casual playthrough here in this dungeon. Again, not really going to be a big difference between the two runners at this point.
Yeah, this big key skip, probably the most dangerous part of doing it on 3 hearts. If anything goes wrong, you really don't have any extra health to do it again. Both doing it fairly nicely. The only other real risk they have really of dying at this point is the double readies at the end. That can go slightly poorly sometimes if you just miss an input and you accidentally run into a red Igor.
Yeah, in the meantime, both runners obviously just picking up the arrows they need.
Yeah, so thalane maintaining a little small lead here. Pod is really going to be the next segment. We're really going to start seeing a lot of glitches there. Oh, and Osse pretty much catching up in this ZGR room. Thalane having a little issues with it. But yeah, as I was saying, like this, just any sort of tiny lead here is not going to matter. Really, Pod, with all the glitches you have to do, really the segment you really start seeing, like some of the better players really start putting up some time on their opponents. Osse going with kind of like I haven't seen that exact version of it, but it looked like kind of like a modified version of the pinkish strat. Normally you just kind of shoot to the left and then start shooting down. He shot a couple more to the left. I haven't seen that version of it before. Oh, and I just noticed, I was wondering why thalane had such a decent lead. Thalane got a 550 gold escape. That was very nice, actually.
Yeah, that was well done. So here we'll be picking up our boots and our bombs, and then we'll see the divergence once we get up Death Mountain after the Death Mountain ascent. We get boots, and the run can actually start where we can run.
Yeah, getting this picking up these boots really feels like the very beginning of this run. The first 10 minutes being basically just the world's longest cutscene. See, both runners getting the same card there. Again, not technically required, but this split is so incredibly dangerous and scary, especially with Helma, that really no one skips Sankart in this category. It's only like a 4-second time save to skip it. It's so it's just really not worth it. Not even just for safety, but like you can kind of use your health as a resource on Helma. So you need really, if you're gonna skip it, you actually really need perfect Helma RNG for it to even really be a time save, where you have to play a lot safer. So it's so thin value here. Pretty much no one skips it at all. In fact, I think literally no one skips it.
Yeah, it looks like Osse had a little bit of trouble with the spin speed to get into that mountainside there to do the DMA clip. Again, not a big deal. He's obviously going to lose a lot more time, apparently, getting the silvers here. But it does give thalane a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, and thalane doing that kind of long diagonal jump is the indication he's not going to be getting silvers. You can see Osse going to go straight down here, so he will be getting silvers. Oh no, he actually got stuck. That's really unfortunate. I would not be surprised actually if he makes a audible here and just goes and skips him, losing that time already. Nope, he's still gonna get them. Okay. Yeah, so thalane's gonna have a fairly big apparent lead, and with that soft flex, gonna have a actual lead as well, coming out of pod, assuming he gets through it cleanly. Which again, very dangerous segment, not guaranteed whatsoever. Can personally attest to that. Also, going to be doing the Brahmin method of getting the silvers. Found literally at the very start of this tournament. We released a tutorial for all dungeons, and like 20 minutes later, Brahmin found this method. Osse's struggling with it just a little bit, but seems to get through it okay. I'm not entirely familiar with this. I've seen it before, but don't really know the details of it.
Yeah, even with that little bit of struggle with that clip there, looks like about the same time loss as if he were to take a slower, safer option, like the death warp back to Link's house that you can opt to do. Is the simplest method of this.
Yeah, like I said, Osse really sat down and actually practiced all these silver stuff. So he's definitely going for, this is pretty much going to be the most optimal version of silvers you're going to see. Thalane having a little trouble with his bomb. He's gonna have to be careful with his bomb management here. You really want to be at least 9 bombs leaving pod. You can only get to 10 max, so we need so many bombs in this route. You really want to stock up on pod as much as possible, and that's still not even gonna be enough. We're still gonna have to pick up extra bombs later on in the run to be able to get through it.
Yeah, I noticed he picked up a pod on the left side on the way to the shooter room and didn't get the bomb underneath it. Moved out of the way a little too quickly. So that's why he's short 1, I believe, from where he's expecting to be.
Yeah, honestly struggling with his Kiki skip clip there. He's also going to need to pick up some hearts here. Really can only be down 2 hearts. There's 3 at the end, and then we're going to take 1 heart of guaranteed damage. So you want to make sure you're at a minimum of 3 here. That second heart is pretty slow to get, so losing a good bit of time on that clip. Like I said, this is really the segment where it's gonna start opening up for runners. Just not even necessarily like the better players, but just there's so much that can go wrong. That we're seeing some problems on Osse's side. It's gonna be a little bit behind here, but there's still, we all know there's plenty of stuff that can go wrong in this category.
Yeah, absolutely. Thalane gets a good arrow drop from the Mimic there. That's nice. So his arrow count is really solid.
Yeah, it's gonna be the other thing. Just arrow management with silvers. You can pick up a lot less, just because things that are gonna take like 2 arrows are only gonna take 1, so you don't need nearly as many. There's a big save on ice. It's only 6 arrows versus 18, so that's one of the time saves from silvers, is you can skip a lot of the arrow drop pots that you would normally need. Again, I assume I haven't really sat down and done the silvers route. I assume Osse has actually looked at it a little more strenuously, so we'll probably see him skipping a bunch of those arrows as well.
Yeah, it does, of course, depend on how he opts to use them, because if he does arrow strats through all of Aga Tower, he's going to use some more arrows there. He might use arrows on Land Molas as well. Silver kill as opposed to fire rod shots. So that'd be a couple more, but yeah, he absolutely doesn't need as many.
That's true. You do end up using a couple more. I think overall, though, you do use a lot less. And then you also, then of course, the 4 on Ganon being the big time save. You definitely want to get those. But you can get a pot in the normal NMG pot in Aga Tower to make sure you have 5 going into that fight. I think Osse's a little low here on this bomb. He's going to need to use some select buffers to save it. Very nicely done saving it like that, though. I mean, with only getting through his helmet fight, only taking 1 hit there.
Using some nice hammer dashes to make sure he gets those hits in, just stretching out the hitbox a little bit on the hammer. Very well done.
The next few segments are going to be relatively safe. Thieves Town and Skull Woods, we're going to be doing here, and then it's Thieves Town and Skull Woods. Not too scary of segments. Things can go wrong on them. The better your pot is, the worse your Thieves Town is going to be. It's kind of the old joke. But Thalane will probably be maintaining a pretty nice lead here. for the next couple segments. Like you can say, like I said before, really Osse wanted to be like kind of in the cutscenes at the same time as thalane. So you can see there's not just the silvers gap, but some of the issues that Osse had. Thalane's got a pretty decent lead here. He's got probably like a solid 40 seconds, if not a minute already. Osse taking a hit in turtles. Usually that's incredibly bad, but he does have silvers, so really not going to be that scary at all. But again, one of the reasons to take silvers, you really have to play the bottom of this basement very cleanly, because you want to be going into Helmet with 5 hearts. So taking a hit there with the silvers, not that big of a deal. At least one would hope. Helmet giving Osse a very friendly pattern. Yeah, it's pretty much the optimal pattern here. Very nicely done. Yeah. The pattern's so nice, you're probably a little mad that you have silvers, because that's definitely a pattern that Osse's capable of cleaning up very easily.
Yeah, meanwhile, thalane doing a nice job getting the boomerang dash in Tower of Hera basement to get the iframes from those pegs. Saving a little bit of time as well. Oh, but the bumper beetle's getting away from him.
Yeah, so it looks like we got about a 2-minute and 14-second difference here. So even with the silver save that Osse's gonna have at the end, thalane is ahead by a good minute already. Gets the chest turn on the moon pearl. Incredibly optimal. Oh, and Osse gets bumped on the fast Hera and just kind of wisely decides to go for the spin strat. That's a really heads up play by Osse.
Oh, thalane with the fall.
Yeah, I was about to say, Thalane's lead right at this point is big enough that Osse really needs him to make some pretty major mistakes to catch up. That's a good 20 seconds, if not a little bit more. Oh no! Moldorm just completely bullying Thalane right now. No!
Yeah.
Oh! He had a shot at ending the fight and just barely missed a hammer, and then Moldorm immediately went into just some really bad patterns.
Doesn't take the fall, doesn't take the death on the second try, though. That's the most important thing. That would be extremely punishing.
Yeah,
still able to maintain his lead, looks like here.
The death would definitely flip it. He definitely lost a bunch of time there, but especially considering he knew if he's watching, he knows he has a decent lead here. Definitely makes sense to just play that as safe as possible at the end there. Those hammer dashes into the arena, probably regretting those a little bit, taking that heart of damage coming in.
All right, so yeah, not a whole lot of interesting things to talk about for this category, specifically in Thieves Town. It's pretty straightforward, a lot of open spaces and room to run. Not a particular dangerous dungeon or anything either. We'll see the big difference in this category, if you're not familiar with it, is the rock that you pick up in the room. Normally you pick up a rock on the way to pick up the maiden, but without gloves in this category, they'll have to kill the enemies and go around.
Yeah, it's very nice that developers gave us this secondary path around there. Otherwise, this category would be a lot different looking. We'd have to end up getting the gloves just to get through here.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, they decided to give us another way through the dungeon that didn't require the gloves. So we just kind of take advantage of that, pick up our Titan's mitts, and then that's the only glove we're ever going to need.
See, I've never heard anyone talk about it, but I always expected that it was a mistake from the developers, that they meant for that rock to be lifted up by mitts only, and that you were supposed to go around the first trip and then pick it up on the way back as a shortcut. But
yeah, it could be. None of the there are like level 1 and 2 big rocks as well. When I was I think the first time I played when I was a kid, I actually went around because I thought big rocks just required level 2 in general. I didn't realize you can pick up the big rocks with level 1 at all.
Yeah, I think it was just for me, like I hadn't seen those silver ones, and I just, instinctively, when you're playing casually, kill all the enemies to make sure you're safe in the room. And then went around as well. Looks like Thalane picking up an extra bomb there to make up for the shortage he had in pod. I believe he's at the right count, or what he's probably used to having right now.
I think he's he's one short, I believe.
Yeah, it does depend on a couple strats. If he opts to do like the bomb clip on the way to Meyer, or
yeah, and with the icebreaker, there's the two common strats you see is either using a bomb to hit the switch, or there is like a cane dash you can use. So it's a difference of a bomb as well. This is what I would normally have in the situation. I have 8 bombs at this point, but I do the cane dash. It's actually one of the things I really like about this category is it's really customizable. You see a lot of different strats and everything. A lot of the glitches only are saving a couple seconds, like you saw Citrus early on. So you can see people decide to go for that or not. Like you said, there's the bomb clip that only saves a handful of seconds. And because of that, like some of the bomb clips in particular are optional. You also like the Meyer bomb jump and stuff like that. Like everyone's bomb routes are going to be a lot different than you would see in like NMG, where there's pretty much a standard route with only like 1 or 2 small deviations you can make. Cleaning up his blind fight pretty nicely.
Yeah, overall, pretty solid Thieves Town from both of our runners here. Apart from missing the Stalfos with the bomb on the lane side in this room, looks like Osse gets it. Nice job. Other than that, really no mistakes or time losses to speak of for either runner.
Yeah, this cutscene is 43 seconds, I believe. So you can see Osse's really not going to be able to get blind dead before Thalane is out of this cutscene. So you can see Thalane still has a effective lead here, even with Osse's silver advantage.
And we get a frog door attempt from Thalane. It's a nice fun strat to see.
Yeah, I'm almost a little surprised he's going for this. There's a risk of, I mean, I guess everyone knows the save now, so there's not real risk of hard locking, but there's a risk of soft locking, which would definitely put Osse in the lead if that happened. Let's see if he... Yep, well, he gets through it fine. But with it's only like a 40 frame time save, and with the lead Thalane has, I mean, he may not be watching. I don't think Flame is necessarily expecting to win this, much less being ahead at this point.
Yeah, and you can always opt to, if you're going for the frog door strat, for a safety, instead of switching your strat entirely and picking up the smith and bonking or dashing into the portal to get the quick warp, you could just intentionally delay your A press and pick up that rock, which doesn't take that much longer.
Yeah, it's the thing. Really, the way to avoid it's like a 1 frame lock, and you have to do it pretty early. And I think like the actual window for talking to the frog is like it's like 17 frames or something. I think FSG said. So really the way to be safe is just to do it to air pretty late on it, and then the failing on the other end isn't a hard lock. It's just you have to pick up the rocks, which kind of just puts it more in parity with what the other strat is.
Yeah,
so
the good news with that actually is I've seen a lot of people, if you pick up the first rock, you don't actually have to move and pick up the second one. You can just press A again and talk to him without moving.
No, I haven't actually haven't tried. Yeah, I just usually pick up both when I fail.
I failed it enough that I learned that from experience.
Yeah, so the Thieves Town startups looks like a 2750 versus a 2935. So Osse has closed the gap a little bit, mostly because of Thalane's Moldorm issues. But Thalane still having a pretty comfortable, like 40 to 50 second lead here. Forty seconds is kind of in the realm of, especially with this category, that Thalane doesn't really need to make one big mistake for Osse to come back in this. Just not playing cleanly. You can lose a lot of time in Desert. You can lose a lot of time in Mire, Ice Palace. They're all splits that you can just have a little trouble on, like Icebreaker or something, and all of a sudden your opponent has caught up to you.
Yeah, nice dashes from Thalane to push that mummy out of the way, since he was blocking the doorway after the statue room. I don't know how tight that is. I seem to struggle with it personally.
Yeah, just with the mummies in the doorway, it can be a little bit of a pain. Really, the big problem is it throws the rest of the timing of the room off. It's going to lose you time in that room pretty badly. Osse getting the traditional bush bonk after getting a successful fence dash. So the major difference in Skullwoods from NMG here, besides picking up that book, which isn't that big of a deal, is the dungeon's a little bit more dangerous. It's effectively like if you had skipped Sankart in an NMG run. Thalane taking some damage in this this Moldorm room. If this room goes poorly, it goes very poorly very quickly. So he's only gonna have 4 hearts on Moth. That's 2. So he can only take 1 hit from Moth. Moth does 2 hearts of damage per hit, so it's going to be a little bit of a scary fight. It just really depends on this Moth RNG. He's getting some nice patterns here.
Yeah, misses the double hit, but Moth moves down and makes it nice and easy to clean up the following 3.
Yeah, usually you only get the nice patterns when you're at full health. It's always when you're already down a couple hearts that Moth decides to be a jerk. And Osse just entering the back of Skullwoods when Thalane finishes cutscene. So again, Thalane's lead is pretty much the time to get from this entrance to the Moth Kill. It's going to be maintaining about a 50-second lead here, I believe, depending on how well this back of Skullwoods goes for Osse. Thalane, however, is entering the part of the run where even if you don't like to have a soft lock or a major mistake happens, you can just start losing gobs of time in this desert segment. We have to do the shopping trick up here, getting ether, going to get flippers. So there's just so many dead rocks and everything. It can really be quite the nightmare.
Yeah, he had to wait out just a second from that dead rock on the way to the ether tablet. Blocked his path. But luckily didn't get hit. Still was able to keep his spin speed, save a little bit of that time.
Yeah, when the dead rock's there, it's kind of just a bad choice whether just to wait it out and keep your spin speed or cancel your spin speed and just slash that dead rock to get him out of your way. Yeah, Osse's Moth wasn't quite as nice as Thalane's, but does manage to clean it up, get through the fight. Especially in a race setting, you don't necessarily need the best fight, you just really want to survive. If Osse had died here, this would be a very, very comfortable lead for Thalane. Yeah, so Thalane still maintaining about a minute and 40 lead here, so about effectively a minute ahead. Again, most of that was really in Osse's pod segment, having the soft lock into Silvers, having some trouble on the Kiki clip. Besides that, they played pretty close to each other. Thalane's major issue was some issues on Moldorm, gave some of that time back to Osse, but is still maintaining a pretty comfortable lead here.
Looks like Thalane opting to do the bomb clip here. Good RNG from that parabomber, staying way out of the way, not even close to a threat.
Yeah, Thalane being good friends with Blaine, I'm glad that Blaine has not convinced him to join the Protestant church.
Is that the church of the spin speed clip?
Yeah, the Protestant church of the spin speed clip. Blaine going for the dash down there, which is definitely not faster than just walking and a lot more dangerous. I did check that the other day. I was like, is it faster? It's definitely not faster.
I did not know that. I walked because it's safer, but I assumed it was faster to dash.
No, it is absolutely not faster. I think maybe if you do it like absolutely perfect, it like ties. But you can just diagonal down there, and it's much better.
Good to know.
Yeah, I had noticed a couple people doing it. I'm like, that's not faster, right? Like, and it's not. It's absolutely not. It's too short. You can get a lot of decent movement just diagonaling around is the main issue.
All right, Osse doing the same bomb clip, looks like here. Bomber tries to get in his way, but Osse gets revenge for, I'm sure, getting messed over by that guy way too many times in the past.
Yeah, this whole split is just full of you got the dead rocks up top. You have that bomb clip with that bomber, or even the Protestant clip, or even the plain ham sandwich, and then this footless mire teleport. Some people believe the left clip's a little bit easier. The main problem is you can overshoot and have to recorrect, so it can just be it's pretty tricky to get it fast. So it's just a lot of hidden time losses. I guess not even hidden; they're pretty obvious. And of course, the most famous time loss in this category, Lamo giving you a bad pattern and having to 2-cycle it.
Yeah, we could see Osse opt to use silver arrows for a slightly easier and slightly faster Landmo fight. We'll see if he chooses to do that, at the cost of obviously spending arrows that he'll have to pick up or route in later.
Yeah, I think the silvers fight is actually, you can obviously just, pretty much kill the Landmos as soon as they spawn. You can also guarantee a 1-cycle with the fire rod. You can get some pretty bad patterns and not actually get it. But we do need the fire rod to light the torches, so you do need the extra menu. So it's pretty close. You can also just opt to... again, I'm not entirely sure 100% on the arrow routing. Skipping the silvers fight might actually be able to allow you to skip a pot, which can be a good 20 to 30 frames as well. So a lot of little things going into whether or not to do the silvers or the fire rod fight. In any case, they're definitely close enough that it's gonna kind of be a preference thing. So I wouldn't really be surprised either method here. Yeah, and Osse is going to be opting to do the silvers. You can see just kill them as soon as they pop up. It definitely finishes that fight a little bit faster than Fire Rod would. And like I said, you can guarantee that 1-cycle every single time, no matter what the pattern is.
And it saves the refill frames after the fight, filling up your magic as well.
Oh, that's true. I wasn't. Yeah, I think honestly the refill takes a long time. If nothing else, that's. So yeah, the servers are definitely going to be a lot faster then.
Yeah, I know that's a big advantage of using them on Landmo 2 is you don't need to grab the refill pot, the full refill pot, and the before torches too. So it depending on how you do the gauntlet anyway.
Well, you can also skip the lamp menu and just do fire rod torches one, and just stay on fire rod the entire time.
Yeah, you can fire rod both torches, no menu, which is a big advantage.
Yeah, even if you have to still go to Kane for at least a Wiz 2. The Wiz 1 arrow strat's really not too bad. The Wiz 2 arrow strat's pretty hard to get. So there is a bomb jump here that some players have started doing. Thalane opting not to do that, just going to walk around here. It's a pretty difficult and risky strat. So there's not too many people that go for it. I think Osse does. I know Osse's generally just kind of a fan of the silly stuff. So I think he might go for it. We'll see though. But this segment definitely Osse's best chance to catch up here. Meyer, there's a lot of things that can go wrong even without the bomb jump. So if Thalane struggles a little bit and Osse has a clean one, we can see Osse closing the gap here quite significantly. Yeah, and Osse dashing through is definitely the indication that he will be going for the bomb jump. If you do the bomb jump, it's faster to get the Barry key on the second pass through. So if you just dash through to the key dash there, 100% you're going for the bomb jump, or you just forgot, which I guess is always an option.
All right, nice hair to swamp there by Thalane. Chooses not to kill the Moldorm, and luckily doesn't get in his way. Very quick first try clip. Nicely done.
Yeah, I think he was on the wrong subpixel there, so he had to fix it a little bit. So very nice job reacting to that quickly and still saving the clip. And Osse's going to be doing this bomb jump. We need to do a spin. Oh, he's not doing the bomb jump. All right, well, I guess I'm a liar. So let's hope he really needs to make sure he remembers this key. I wonder if maybe he normally goes for the bomb jump, decided not to do it for the race, and just kind of forgot he needs the Bari key. I've definitely done it where I've failed the bomb jump and forgot to get this key. Okay, he does get it. Very good.
Thalane deciding to stop his dash a little bit early there. Looked like he was a little slow on dashing down after picking up the cane. Looked like he probably still would have made it, but it's definitely better to be safe and not get 1.0'd by the laser and take the early fall off the bridge.
Yeah, as long as you can do 4 heart vidi, even if you take a hit there, it's not too bad. It does make the rest of your mire a little tricky. The main thing is like you don't need like to have the world's best movement to beat that laser, but like any like major mistake, like just like dashing in front of the chest or grabbing the chest, anything like that is going to throw it off just enough that you're probably going to get hit. So if you notice you did something like that, the better decision is to just go ahead and take the early fall. I've actually been there's the hover strat there. Even if I don't have full hearts, if I notice my movement's off, I just go for the hover. Just because it can be a little tricky to actually stop in the right spot, so I just kind of convert it to that method. I'm playing having a little trouble with that spooky block. Just able to get a nice little backup there. And when he misses his movement was like he put in a diagonal there. I think it just threw off the timing a little bit. I think he actually ended up getting frame ruled there because you saw the fire rod shot kind of hit the anti-fairy like kind of in the middle of its body. You can see Osse also having a little trouble there. It just falls off right at the top. That cutscene's pretty long if you're gonna fall off the top, so it's still better to dash down.
Oh, Thalane just misses the 0 cycle, or 1 cycle, whatever you want to call it, on Vitreous, getting 1 lightning strike. But cleans it up fine, doesn't take the death. Not a huge time loss. Just showing for both runners a lot of little things here like you mentioned, that can go wrong in this split. There's a lot of ways to lose time in Mire.
Yeah, Thalane having a little trouble with his Mire segment, but Osse's hasn't been 100% clean as well, so gap is probably going to be maintained pretty closely here. It looks like Osse has made up a little time here, though. Let's see if he gets this spooky.
Yeah, Osse got the spooky there, which is nicely done. He had a little bit of a faster hair to swamp as well. Both having not quite perfect Mire 2-2s. Neither of them got the heart drop. To get sword beams, make that a little bit easier. Thalane choosing to bait out the fireball before going for this clip. Maybe not quite fast enough, or just for safety, not wanting to try to beat it. So expect to not see a whole bunch of divergence here, or a lot of a change in Swamp Palace. Not a whole lot that can go wrong in this dungeon.
Yeah, Diver Down is pretty straightforward to get. You can struggle with it a little bit, but you're generally not going to lose that much time even if you mess it up. The bigger thing is if one of these players gets a 0 cycle and the other doesn't. That's going to be a good 7 seconds.
Yeah, nice to see Osse doing the safer, I believe, is that the Brahmin strat for Mire exit?
Yeah, that's another Brahmin special. Brahmin making my tutorial useless as soon as I finished it. So very nice, thank you, Brahmin. It's just Flame didn't even use the menu to hookshot to try to set up that one frame input. Really not another good place for this hookshot menu. So you see most players use that menu to get the buffer. So thalane being on 4 bombs here, if he is using a bomb for the switch in Ice Palace, he's going to need to find one more. If he doesn't, does like the cane dash or one of the cane strats, he'll be fine. Generally, like I said, I do the cane strats and I carry forward Ice Palace, so he's in the correct spot there. There's plenty of backups though. If he needs to be down, he can either like teleport Ice Rod, he can get a bomb in Turtle Rock. He might just get that bomb in Turtle Rock standardly. The only time you skip is if you do the fast peg puzzle strat.
Thalane just missed the 0 cycle. That was very close.
Yeah, so it does open the door for Osse a little bit. Osse has been kind of consistently closing this gap since Pod. Just, you know, the Thalane's really only like major issue was the Moldorm fight, but Osse's just been playing a little bit cleaner from then on out to save some of this time. Also, public service now, just dash when you land after diver down. That way you don't spin. I see people spin and it drives me nuts. It doesn't matter. Just keep. Who cares? You just spin. It doesn't matter. Or just dash. It doesn't matter whether or not you hold a spin or not. No, Osse. Yeah. Maybe actually. Nope. Okay. He had a chance to save it. He was getting pretty long patterns from Argus.
Thalane looks like he's being a little bit safe and careful on this this mirror wrap, which is definitely good, especially if he's watching the race, knows that he's got a little bit of a lead. Definitely has time to be safe, and 100% make sure you don't hard lock the mirror wrap into Ice Palace. Okay, did use a bomb on that bombable floor and I hit the crystal switch, but picks up the safety bomb. So he's back on track with where he needs to be with his bomb route. Ooh, does miss the first attempt at the icebreaker.
That's good at second try though. Yeah, you have to be a little careful here. There's only the 2 pots of magic at the end, so you can basically have 4 canes you can use before you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, if you use more than 2, you have to pick up a second magic refill, which is a little bit slower than skipping that second pot. It's nice to see both of our runners doing different strats in this first room. The 2 different options for the bomb flips you can use. Both done very well.
I'm not sure what Osse's doing here.
I'm not sure. You might be trying to save the bomb so he doesn't have to pick up a second one, but
I guess. I mean, you can just cane dash on the right there. I'm not sure if what he was doing was faster. I haven't really seen that version of the strat.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe if he'd gotten it first try or the berries hadn't been in his way, it might have been quicker.
It doesn't get the first try icebreaker though.
Which is good because he used a little bit extra magic in that first room, so he's got to be careful.
Yeah, I think with Osse struggling in that first room and thalane struggling with Icebreaker a little bit. I think it's going to come out. Their splits are probably going to come out in the wash here. Thalane does have a couple places left. He can lose a bunch of time. You know, it's the Toro Rock climb. You just have to put in one wrong input, and all of a sudden you're soft locked, and this will be pretty much tied. But besides that, you have the GT clip, and then you know, for runners of these caliber, you know, like Flane's really not going to lose 40 seconds in GT. He may lose 20, 30. You know, if he's got a pretty sloppy one. He was commenting in the race now. He's a little rusty. So, and if Thalane has a rough GT and gets worse RNG, you know, Osse still's got a shot at this, but it's getting pretty close. Thalane's in a pretty comfortable spot at this point. Just needs to play fairly cleanly for the rest of this match and should be able to come away with a win.
Yeah, barring the ultimate RNG disaster that is Aga 1.
Aga 1 and Ganon. People forget about the Ganon warp sometimes. They can be pretty significant source of RNG too, especially when if you're close to PB pace. Just 1 or 2 warps can really make the difference between getting a small PB and not.
How much time loss is each extra warp approximately?
I think it's about 3, so it's like 2 warps are effectively a blue ball. The big thing on Ganon is you just don't have the third one that causes the big, you know, double time loss with the 12 seconds on the blue balls.
Right. The lane nicely done, getting the mirror wrap into Turtle Rock. Not too much trouble.
Yeah, so like I said, pretty much, I mean, Turtle Rock can go slightly poorly, especially if he gets hit by this laser here. That can be a little scary at the end. But, I mean, the lanes really just had, as far as, like, big time losses, that'll really let Osse get back into this, barring just, you know, a disaster. Pretty much just the GT clip. And that one's really not too bad, especially if you don't try to do the fast clip. There's a pretty easy setup for it, and it's a pretty consistent clip.
Lane unfortunately getting the bad RNG from the pokey here, going up into the right in his way. So he has to take a little detour around.
Yeah, you can just hold up there and be safe. Just hold up to the pot and walk in. There's actually a new, you know, it's nice having the menu there to be able to read them. You can actually save that menu for if you get bunny beamed here, getting one of the bad RNGs. Ooh, I'm actually getting the best RNG, but the most difficult, and is in a pretty rough spot here. Wisely decides to pick up this ferry. But yeah, just, you know, like I was saying, flying in a comfortable lead, but, you know, mistakes like that, this is probably a good 8 to 10 second mistake. Just, you know, allowing Osse to hang in this race may, you know, I think Osse's best bet at this point is to kind of get it into, like, the RNG range and just hope for significantly better RNG off of the Wizard and the Pig. The Wizard and the Pig being my Black Sabbath cover band, by the way.
It's like Osse having a little trouble though in the crystal roller room. I didn't see what caused that, but he ended up on the wrong side of the roller.
Yeah, it's just a little tricky. it's a pretty wide window, but it's like it's a very deceptive window. The main thing is the actual roller part at the end of that spiky roller doesn't actually have a hurt box, so you can get pretty far down into it. But if you go too far, then you're whiff your sword / up. So it's something like I think I tested. It's something like a 6 or 7 pixel window, but like the keys for it are pretty unintuitive and not really good. So it doesn't. And if you're trying to go fast, if you're just not at the right spot, you can just end up in the wrong side. But despite Thalane's some of his issues in Turok does finish up his Trinex fight closely here. But Osse is gonna, like I was saying before, if you're rooting for Osse, you want him to be in the cutscene at the same time. I think he's just gonna be just outside that window, so this is gonna be pretty close, actually. Might be a cutscene plus a Trinex fight outside.
Yeah, he did have nice RNG from the pokey. He got the fairy and the full magic drop, so he doesn't have to pick up the magic bot or worry too much about his magic going into this fight. Nice little, very minuscule, but still time save.
Alright, I'm gonna have words with Osse after this. Osse not going for the super cool and optimal poke dash strats that I made him learn. So yeah, Osse is going to be a little bit outside that window. We'll see the Turtle times here shortly. But like, you know, Ganon's Tower is a very difficult fight. Like I said, Thalane's not going to lose a minute in here compared to Osse, but you know, it's not that hard to especially if you're a little rusty, to blow 20-30 seconds in here. So if Osse can have a clean GT versus Thalane, it's definitely going to put this pretty close. All right, let's look at the Osse getting a gold. I think it's just gold on his gold splits, but still getting a gold to a rock there. So it looks like Osse finished her rock at 101.05, and Thalane was at 59.50. So that's a minute and 25. So yeah, just about if you give Osse about 40 seconds of credit for that, the Silvers fight, still about a 40-second gap. So Osse will need to have a pretty clean GT to put this into kind of like the RNG range. Didn't I say 115? Did I say 125?
Yeah, you said 125. It should be 115.
Okay. I had 115 in my head. I did the math correctly, but my mouth didn't cooperate, which is pretty accurate, honestly, with me.
Just a verbal typo.
Yeah, verbal typo. It's And you know, I've been talking about Osse saving time on the Ganon fight at these Silvers. He's also going to have, you know, time save. The other really big time save with Silvers in the run. You are going to get a fair amount of time in GT as well. Osse going for the frame roll. FSGs, please. Not able to get it though. But yeah, you got the Armos fight, which will save a few seconds, as well as Mimics 1, Mimics 2. Can also, as we mentioned before, doing some of those silver strats upstairs on Lamo, saving a menu on Fire Rod. So, you know, there's probably a good, I don't know if it's quite 10 seconds of time save having silvers in here, but it's going to be a decent chunk.
Yeah, and he has more than enough arrows. He won't have to pick up any more throughout the run.
Yeah, he's got plenty. He did have pretty much enough even if he didn't have silvers.
Yeah, it's likely that he might have just stuck to a similar arrow route that he was familiar with, having just learned the silver strats, not bothered to learn the silver arrow route. Just grab what he's used to.
And having a very nice silvers Armos fight. Like I said, you know, Osse's not just grabbing these just for safety. He's actually put the time and effort to learning some of these good silver strats. So you know, saving a good chunk of time on thalane on that ice Armos fight.
Looks like thalane is able to get the 1 cycle for land mode 2, which is really good.
Pretty polite pattern there.
Yeah,
All going down left. Just pretty easy to get those fire rod shots in.
And both runs with really good gauntlets. I like that attempted arrow shot on the Stalfos. If you get the right RNG, get the quick kill, but he cleans it up nicely with bad RNG.
Yeah, really able to clean it up nicely to get through there cleanly. That arrow shot's just it's kind of like a shoot and pray type thing. It's pretty hard to get it 100% of the time. So he obviously will be. Oh, he misses the whiz one here. But yeah, we'll be sticking on bow strats for at least whiz 1. Let's see if he optimally you would also stick through at whiz 2, but again this one is pretty difficult to do. He gets it. Very nice. Yeah, that is an incredibly difficult strat. So able to save 2 menus here. You know, that's 2 seconds right there just from sticking on silvers.
Yeah, and he doesn't need this magic pot. I guess he picks it up anyway, maybe out of comfort or just because it's in his way. But
he might be picking it up to
dash more cleanly through the door there. Oh, or to go for a faster strat there.
Yeah, I think he picked up there just to make sure he had enough to get through that room. You know, if you miss one fire rod shot in there, then it's gonna go badly for you. Not sure we picked that magic up though. If he does, should be just on silvers in Agataur. Again, like ideally, if you don't have silvers, you stay on fire rod the entire time, so you don't have the menu in the Ganon fight. Saves you a menu there. For the same reason, if you're doing, if you have silvers, you want to just stay in silvers for the entirety of the Agataur, because you can get a silver shot on Ganon before the torches go out. So you just want to be on silvers. Osse having a pretty decent setup for a potential triple, but unfortunately just misses it. And then gets blue balled. We'll need 3 more to finish this out. Unfortunately, he's getting the 4 cycle here, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like thalane got a 3 cycle, I believe, on Aga 2. So Osse losing just a little bit of time there.
Yeah, so again, oh, well, thalane didn't split for me on Ganon Tower, so what a jerk.
Oh, did thalane get a 4 cycle as well? That's my mistake. I miscounted.
Just thalane exited the the dark room key door at 108.09. I guess we'll use that. And you can see Osse going to silvers here. I haven't looked at silver strats for Agus Tower all that much. You know, silvers are a safety. Like Agus Tower doesn't really make too much different what your strats are here, so I'm not entirely sure what's optimal through here. We'll see what Osse does. Again, I know he spent some time in here to figure some of this stuff out. Okay, so just under a minute, it looks like. Osse entering that door 109.08, so it's like 59 seconds. So, you know, with Ganon, like, really, Osse just needs 2 blue balls here, I think, to put this in range, depending on how good his silver Ganon fight is. If you can get like a single into a triple, we'll have a pretty quick fight.
Yeah, and unfortunately for us, he didn't get the fairy drop from the blue guards in the second room here, but he did get... Or doesn't have to worry about the magic refill since he picked up that pot in Ganon's tower. So Thalane is going to have a long refill for the magic. Osse is going to have a long refill for health after Agate Tower. So those are going to somewhat wash out.
Yeah, I think Osse will be saving a few frames. The full magic refill is pretty long. Was that the second blue ball for Thalane?
I actually didn't notice. I was focusing on Osse's climb.
Yeah, same. Ari saying that was the second blue ball.
This fight's hard enough to pay attention to when you're actually in it. It's so boring.
Yeah, it's 3 already. This is some pretty rough RNG for Thalane. So if Osse get a 1 or 2 here, or even a 0. Okay, I believe that's gonna cap it at 3 for Thalane. So Osse really needs a 1 or 2 here for this to be in contention, despite some really bad Ganon warps. It's 1 already. Well. And yeah, Osse getting the duck special here. Thalane will still need a clean Ganon fight. You know, we've seen runners not get the 1-on-1 in this tournament before. Even just missing Torch Glitch is going to be very important to make sure he was able to close this out. So I mean, pretty standard for a runner of Thalane's skill level, but it can happen. It's happened to all of us. I'll say already up to 4 blue balls. Five blue balls. Yeah, it looks like he's going to finish off at 5. Thalane does miss the 1-on-1. I still think Thalane has got enough of a lead here that this is not going to be an issue as long as he gets this little torch glitch.
Yeah, and Thalane so far not getting a lot of Ganon warps either. So Ganon's being friendly today.
Just 1 warp so far. Yeah, he's going to finish off with 1 warp. Just pretty much the only thing that's in contention now, getting this torch glitch. Doesn't go for the double, and does get the torch glitch. This is pretty much going to be Thalane's game from here on out. But yeah, really close match. Really it decided in the pods segment. Osse just having a couple problems there, getting a soft lock, having trouble with the Kiki clip, just put him in such a big hole. Thalane not having any major issues for the rest of the game. I think the worst thing that really happened to him was Moldorm. Osse played a little bit cleaner down the stretch, able to reduce it from like a 2-minute gap down to just this like 30-second gap. But very good run from both players.
Yeah, and GG to thalane, officially finishing up with a time of 1:13:47. You see Osse does get a couple game warps, slow down his phase 3 as well, but phase 4 obviously significantly faster with those silvers, and does show off a lot of that efficiency of getting them, or claw back some of the time lost.
Yeah, I mean this gap ended up being just 30 seconds, the 1:13:47 to the 1:14:17. So yeah, that's right around what those silvers would cost you. So we'll see if Osse's gonna be mad at me convincing him to get those silvers on accident. But yeah, GG. thalane will move on, play Kozer in the next round. Unfortunately, Osse is eliminated with this loss. Osse, just really great competitor. Plays this, plays SM, plays a lot of rando. So I'm really excited to have him in these vanilla tournaments competing. But we're now joined by thalane. GG's thalane.
Hey, GG's.
So that was a pretty good run for you. Your major issue was Moldorm having a little issues there. But besides that, just some time lost down the stretch, but finishing with a pretty good time here. So, just, like, how do you feel about the run overall, I guess?
Honestly, I think, as you said, apart from Moldon Fall, I think it went pretty good, actually, considering I haven't played him forever and all that. And even then, like 2 weeks ago, this was still like pretty good for me.
Yeah, and we're also now joined by Osse. GG's to you, Osse.
Hey, GG.
Hey, GG's, man.
So yeah, we were just kind of talking. The big difference in this match was the troubles you had in the pod segment, getting the soft lock. I almost expected you to, after getting the first soft lock, I kind of almost expected you to call a hot audible and not get silvers at that point, already soft locking once, but end up getting them. Sort of ended up being, just sort of right in that range where the overall silvers time lost to 30 seconds.
Yep, that's how much they cost.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, are you mad at me for accidentally convincing you to get those?
No. I like having silvers because then it changes up a bunch of the rooms. Like my Ice Aramos was way swaggier, and that's mainly why I get silvers. That and the no stress run.
Yeah, it does reduce the stress a little bit. One thing I noticed, do you normally do the Meyer bomb jump? Because you skipped the Bari. I'm like, okay, he's definitely going for this, and then you didn't do it, and then I look like a jerk. Do you normally do that? And you just forgot to get the key?
Well, I normally go for it and miss it, so I didn't want to do it today.
Oh, okay.
It's usually the spin speed that gets me too. Do you know if it's actually slower to get the key on the second trip? I figured just get it second trip because that's the backup for missing bomb jump already.
Yeah, no, if you're not going to get it at all, you should get it on the first trip because you can open the door while the key is jumping up to you. So it ends up being just a little bit more efficient, but it's not too big of a deal either way. But yeah, if you're not going to go for it all, you might as well get it on the first trip.
Yeah, I guess you can walk into the room before dashing on second trip.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good match. I think Osse, you, besides, it was kind of like a 2-minute gap, so it was like a little over a minute with the, giving you credit for the silvers after pod. That kind of got reduced to about a minute with thalane's Moldorm issues, and then Osse, I think you had like a little bit cleaner of an end game overall, saving some time obviously with the silvers, some of those other rooms.
Yeah, I'm pretty terrible at the pod split, so that's where most of my time loss is in every run. Also escape in Eastern, I always fall behind, it seems.
Yeah, well, I mean, Thalane had a. I was surprised how much of a gap there was in Escape, and I looked at Thalane's splits, and it was a 550 gold, so that was a very nice split by Thalane. But yeah, GG's to both of you. Thalane, you will be playing Kozer next. Do you have any thoughts on that matchup?
No, but I didn't really expect to come this far, to be quite honest with you. So I'm kind of surprised I won this one, but yeah, I guess next week is like end of my journey in this tournament. Maybe, who knows?
People keep saying that, and they keep winning. So you did have the gave Osse the AD file name.
Oh yeah, but that was more for me, kind of.
No, I
like
know.
It's my
No, I
final
know. I know you were saying it for you. But yeah, Ace, do you have any kind of hogging this? Do you have any questions for
No,
these guys?
it's all good. GG's to both of you guys. You put on a good race for us. Definitely avoided the disasters that the all disasters category is known for. So it's fun to see when there's not any of that and it's just remains a close race the whole time.
Yeah, I was
it's really
watching.
nice. I think
Yeah, I was watching, and it was like really close the entire time, right?
steadily apart, but really close. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it was the pod split kind of opened it up, and we, like I said, that tends to be where things start going a little bit wrong, and then the Moldorm let you back in a little bit, and then like Osse clawed another maybe like 10 to 20 seconds back through the rest of the race. Like Ice Palace, you both had your own issues in there. Osse having some trouble with the cane dash, which the cane dash was weird to me because like normally I just do it like on the right side, I just kick it through the hole.
That's what I tried to do, but I think I stopped too early, and the block wouldn't have gone over the wall. That's why I didn't do that. And then the berry was right on the switch, and the cane can't bypass him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I haven't really looked at that method of it, but you each had a little issue in Ice Palace, but it was really close throughout. It was definitely within the kind of RNG range. But as a tradition, the player that needs the good RNG got the worst RNG, so I just kind of finished it up that way. But yeah, great run, Osse. I wish you all luck in your other tournaments. I know you're in a bunch, so you have a little bit more time now.
Yeah, a bunch of them are starting up now, like new ones. So it's nice to cut a few, I guess.
Yeah. But I wish you all the luck in the SM and the SMZ3 tournaments as well. So, and Thalane, wish you luck as well next week.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I think we're actually, we'll just make a quick shout out here. I think we're going to be rating Steven's charity stream. He's doing a little charity stream for autism awareness this month. So we're going to be throwing over there. If you guys do have the means, it'd be very appreciated if you can donate a few dollars. But I think with that, I will be throwing it back to Siberian here to close us out.
Yeah, as already mentioned, we are going to raid Steven IRL at the end, and the next All Dungeon restreams will be tomorrow. Also, loser bracket round 2. First match is Asta versus Kaznode, and the second one is Checkshuman versus ACMLM. Is there a way to pronounce this name?
That's how you pronounce it, ACMLM.
Good.
Usually we just don't say the LM part, just ACM.
Okay.
Too many letters.
Okay. So tune in again for the next link to the past matches, and of course to everything else we have on Zelda Speedruns 1, 2, 3. See you.